A contract extension the Rams need to make that no one's talking about. Also, 4 trades the Rams could still make this offseason. And the 10 most memorable moments since the Rams returned to Los Angeles. That's coming up next on Locked On Rams.
You are Locked On Rams, your daily Los Angeles Rams podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Ramily, and welcome to another episode of Locked On Rams, your daily podcast covering your Los Angeles Rams. Locked On Rams, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Now, the #1 sports podcast network, your team every day. My name is Doug McCain. Friends call me D-Mac. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMac_LA. Today, I'm flying solo. The People's Champ, Mr. Travis Rogers, will be back on Monday. On today's episode, we're talking about some trades the Rams could still make. We're going to dive into the list of the top 10 moments since the Rams returned to Los Angeles. But first, we're going to talk about an extension the Rams should strongly consider making, and one that really is a no-brainer that no one is talking about, and that is for offensive lineman Kevin Dotson. So Kevin Dotson's contract with the Los Angeles Rams is going to expire after the upcoming season, and yes, it's not a priority over a potential Puka Nacua extension or a new deal with Matthew Stafford or guys like that, but he is the best offensive lineman on the Rams. He is their road grader as far as someone that makes things happen in the duo run game. And since he put on the horns in 2023, he's been an absolute beast for this organization. He's really changed the culture as far as their attitude on the offensive line, pushing guys around, being bigger, more physical. And he's been a big reason why Kyren Williams has broken out and has had 3 1,000-yard seasons. He's a reason why Matthew Stafford won the MVP. And with the team, they have replaced Rob Havenstein with Warren McClendon. That's a move that upgraded the offensive line, really, from a performance standpoint. Dotson was a big reason that he had success, too, just mentoring him, solidifying that offensive line. And really, it kind of makes you wonder, are the Rams in a position where you can't pay everyone from that 2023 draft class? Puka Nacua, Steve Avila. Do they pay Steve Avila? Avila is younger than Dotson. Dotson is a better player than Avila. Dotson might not have as many prime years left as Steve Avila could potentially have, but Dotson is a much more proven player. And it is easier to find a new left guard because you got Alaric Jackson. Dotson, he is the communicator. He is the guy that makes things happen verbally as a leader on that offensive line. And you can't put a price, you can't put a PFF stat on what it means to be a leader. And I think when you look at the Rams, he's got to be the starting right guard for this team for the next couple of seasons. He absolutely has to. And Avila, like I said, he's younger. But if I'm choosing between the two, I'm going to go with Kevin Dotson. I mean, there is a world where you could get a deal done for both of them. But at some point, you're going to have to look at other options or just kind of taking advantage of what you do have. Because when you look at the guard play right now, you got Steve Avila and Kevin Dotson. The Rams, they're only going to bring back one of those two guys. And if they have to choose one, Dotson is certainly the one that you want to give the extension to, at least right now. You have depth at the offensive line spot with Justin Dedich. He's not someone who's going to be a starter for you, especially in the course of a 17-game season. And when you look at the contract situations where Avila lines up and where Dotson lines up, I think that is another factor that's a part of the calculus in this upcoming NFL draft, that you could see the Rams potentially go out there and get another guard. And now they know what the blueprint looks like. They've already changed the path and the course for this offensive line, and you are looking for a guard that you feel comfortable can run and execute those duo concepts. And I look at last season too. When Dotson was hurt, when he was dealing with the ankle injury, when he was banged up, the offensive line, they were doing a decent job protecting Matthew Stafford, but they had their issues running the ball with any consistency, and it was just a major difference with him out of the lineup. So you look at where the Rams are at, offensive line standpoint, and a guard is someone that you don't want to possibly take with a 13th pick, but still, I mean, at this point where the Rams are at, I mean, if you sign Dotson to an extension and at 13, you can look to replace Steve Avila if you don't love that. And there's prospects out there. You got the offensive lineman out of Penn State. I mean, there's a lot of possible moves that they could make. And it wouldn't be the sexiest pick for sure, but it would be a pick that says that, hey, we're committed to Kevin Dotson. We appreciate Steve Avila's services, but it's a business, and it's a league with salary cap. You've got to make some decisions ultimately. And I think that it's kind of the mindset now where if you are the Rams and there is a player that drops to you that surprises as far as the Jeremiah Love types, a running back out of Notre Dame, I mean, a potentially special talent, you got room for special. You don't have room for good, but you're always going to have some room for special, even if you feel comfortable about where your roster sits at that position. Reuben Bain Jr. out of Miami. Sean McVay has said you can never have enough edge rushers. Sonny Styles, a player that can impact the game defensively. We're talking about guys that could go top 5 to 8, 5 to 9, 5 to 10, but if they're available for whatever reason, then all bets are off. Then you take your plan, you rip it up to shreds. I think the plan that you want to have is the no plan as far as, hey, the plan is we're fluid, right? If that is the plan. But like, you don't want to force yourself into certain positions. And look, even if Mekhi Lemon's still there or Kenyon Sadiq is still there, if any of those aforementioned names I just mentioned are available, those are better prospects. They really are. They profile as guys that are, at least from a projection standpoint and a physical attribute standpoint, they're guys that I think have a higher potential of being top 5 at their position. As good as I think Mekhi Lemon is, I don't think he's going to be a top 5 receiver in this league. I just think he's a good fit for what the Rams are looking for this upcoming season. So, and you look at Avila. He has been solid when he's been out there. I would definitely not say he's been a disappointment by any stretch, but there's a couple things. He was the 36th overall pick. Has he performed like a 36th overall pick? I wouldn't say he has. I think he's been solid to good, but I don't think he's been good to great to elite on that scale. And on top of that, there's the missed time. He's missed games in each of the last 2 years. He missed 7 games with an MCL sprain in 2024. He missed 4 games with an ankle injury last season. And yes, Dotson missed some time, but hey, we all know what happened there. We know that there was a situation where there was a cheap shot that happened. We know what went into that, where, hey, Derek Hall, hey, we'll never forget. Revenge is a dish that's going to be served cold, and it's going to be at the hands of Kevin Dotson at some point. But with the injuries in the offensive line, I mean, Bo Limmer, we saw him start. Guys like that. So, yeah, I mean, if they were to draft a guard, and that guard showed out during training camp, then you kind of start to think about, hey, this is a way to have an evaluation there and to look back and say, hey, maybe there is an opportunity to put pressure on an existing player while lighting a fire on the entire offensive line, while, hey, sending the message, hey, we are going to prioritize certain players. And I think Kevin Dotson is a player you have to prioritize. I really think that when this team wins the Super Bowl next season, that you're going to look back at guys like Kevin Dotson as, hey, they're not at the Puka Matthew Stafford tier, But from a character standpoint, from a culture change standpoint, from what this offensive line looked like after the Super Bowl winning years, where, hey, they had dealt with the injuries, they dealt with the lack of toughness and a physicality, Dotson's a big reason why that changed. So, no-brainer. It really is. I think that it's an absolute no-brainer. You got to get an extension done. You want to make him happy, and he's the leader. He's the leader of this team, and you got to protect and take care of those leaders, especially when they're also productive, when they're still extremely effective. Kevin Dotson, one of the better offensive linemen in the National Football League. And he's proven to be that. Last year, he had an 86.4 overall grade. That was third out of 81 guards. Third. Pass blocking grade, still top 25, was 24 out of 81. But the run blocking grade, 89.3. That's 3 out of 81. So he's an absolute impressive run blocker and a special run blocker. Top 3 at his position. And those are the kind of guys you bring back. You look at a guy like Steve Avila, and like I said, you always got to take PFF grades with a grain of salt the size of Aaron Donald's biceps. Not bad. Really, not bad. I mean, run blocking grade 74.1, that's 11 out of 81. Pass blocking grade 70.6, that's 21. Overall grade 76.8, that's 9 out of 81. A really, really good player. He really is. But you just can't keep them both, and they're unlikely to keep them both. A mammoth of a man, by the way, 6'3", 332 for Steve Avila. But coming up next, we'll pick up on this conversation, and then we're also going to throw out some trades the Rams could still make this season, and then we're going to start our list of the most memorable moments since the Rams returned to Los Angeles. That's coming up next on Locked On Rams. The NFL Draft is here, where preparation meets opportunity and every decision matters. It's all about being ready when your moment comes. And that same mindset applies to off the field too. That's where Rougier comes in. Rougier offers treatments designed to help you feel ready and confident when it matters most. Their top option, Rougier Ready, is a mint that dissolves under your tongue with clinically proven ingredients. It works quickly, often in about 15 minutes, and can last up to 16 hours. And they also offer Go Long, designed to help with both performance and control. It's all about showing up at your best whenever your moment is. Head to Rougier.com/LockedOnNFL and get 15% off your ED treatment. That's RUGIET.com/LockedOnNFL for 15% off. Rougier, performance medicine for men. And we are off and running here on Locked On Rams. Thank you for making Locked On Rams your first listen every single weekday. Free and available wherever you get your podcast. Locked On Rams, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Also want to give a big shout out to those everyday listeners out there watching and listening to every single episode of Locked On Rams. Cannot thank you enough. If you haven't yet, do us a huge favor. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and also start the Everydayer Club. It's $5 a month. It's $50 for the year. You get access to ad-free audio, an exclusive membership to our Discord server. You can talk Rams football with Rams fans 24/7, 365. Also, some Rams exclusive Locked On merch, things like that. So go to the Everydayer Club. Go to lockedonrams.supercast.com today to check it out. Okay, so got this list of trades the Rams could still make that are pretty bold, pretty surprising. And the first would be for wide receiver Keon Coleman, currently a receiver for the Buffalo Bills. Now, he really hasn't been what they hoped he would be. I mean, he has been good at times, not great at times. He was a teammate of Jared Verse at Florida State, as well as Braden Fisk. And he's someone that you could cut him if it didn't work out. He's not going to be expensive. He has had success in the red zone. He does have a certain moxie where he can have that nose for the football and knows how to make plays when he's involved and when he's targeted. But I like the stretchiness of him. I mean, he's someone that you play with Josh Allen, you expect, hey, like that's a great spot for me. Matthew Stafford makes everyone better. And I think that Josh Allen's a great quarterback, but as far as pure arm talent, he certainly has it. But I'd take Matthew Stafford as a pure arm talent. And Keon Coleman, I just look at the fact that you could buy him low. Jerry Jeudy, another one. Jerry Jeudy, this is the one where, yeah, he was a Pro Bowler. He does have skills. There was a time where he looked like he was going to emerge as one of the best receivers in the NFL. And I'm just looking at the fact that, hey, if the Rams aren't going to spend that number 13 pick on a wide receiver, they still might. But if they do not, a guy like a Jerry Jeudy as your number 3 to pair with Puka in the future, and you got a trio of him and Devontae Adams, this is almost like an audition year for a reclamation project wide receiver. You know Puka's going to be the guy. The question is, who's going to be the guy after Devontae Adams? And you can either wait and just play things out with Devontae Adams and have a rotation of Konate Mumfield and Jordan Whittington, guys like that as your number 3 receivers. These guys aren't good enough for an all-in season. Let's just call that what it is. Good, not good enough for what this offense needs. And we saw that in the NFC Championship game. We saw that at parts throughout the season. So the thing about Jeudy, too, I mean, look at the teams he's been on and where he's been throughout his career. Does that scream stability? Does that scream an environment? I think you put him in a better environment and he has a chance to thrive on a better level. I mean, he's played for Denver when they weren't great, and then he was at Cleveland, still 26, 27 years old. And last season, 17 games, he had 2 touchdowns. But I think there's potential there. 602 yards. The year before that in Cleveland, though, he had a 1,229-yard season, 12-29 in 17 games, had 4 touchdowns. And he put together a Pro Bowl season. So that's another buy low type of player that kind of fits the profile as now and in the future. Another name we talked about, Brian Thomas Jr., could he be a potential trade for the Jaguars? Remains to be seen if they're going to flip him. I think as far as upside play, he would be the biggest there as far as the upside play. And then if you're still looking for a quarterback, Anthony Richardson is still on the table. Anthony Richardson, if I had to pick between him and J.J. McCarthy, hey, Richardson is someone that he's got the athleticism. He's got a big arm. And I look at a Rams team that's looking for mobility in their future signal caller, and also it's not a desperate move to think that, hey, you even need him this year. I mean, Matthew Stafford might play for a couple more seasons. So we're throwing out some trade ideas, and I think it's pretty clear at this point. I'm not content with the wide receiver 3 spot. And it's also a position where I look at who's available. I mean, I do think that it would be pretty awesome to see if he was there in that spot. I really do. But I also think that it would change the calculus of the season if you brought in an offensive player to a weapon that just absolutely takes this offense to a whole nother level. And I certainly think that those guys do have the potential at least to do that. They have the potential at least to do that. But, yeah, coming up next, we're going to start our list, the top 10 most memorable moments since the Rams return to Los Angeles. That's coming up next on Locked On Rams. If you've ever opened your bank account and thought, where'd all my money go? You're not alone. Keeping track of subscriptions, spending, and bills can get overwhelming fast. That's where Rocket Money comes in, helping you take control of your finances all in one place. How does Rocket Money help you keep track of finances? It tracks all your subscriptions in one spot and can help cancel the ones you don't need with just a few taps. It automatically categorizes your spending so you can actually see where your money is going, and you can set budgets, get alerts, and stay on top of upcoming bills. It just makes everything feel more organized and gives you a clear picture of your finances day to day. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel and unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Let Rocket Money help you reach your financial goals faster. Join at rocketmoney.com/locked on. That's rocketmoney.com/locked on. And welcome back to Locked On Rams. Thank you for making Locked On Rams your first listen every single weekday. Free and available wherever your podcast. Locked On Rams, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. All right, here in our third segment, the LA Times put out their top 10 moments since the Rams returned to Los Angeles January 12, 2016. It's been a decade. Man, time flies. Well, they have at number 10. It says weird number 1. And it was when Jared Goff was selected by the Rams. The Rams end up trading up a record 14 spots to take Jared Goff. Says Rams general manager Les Snead said 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, and 2 third-round picks to Tennessee, portending a swing-for-the-fences mentality in trades that would lead to the Rams going 7 years without making another first-round pick. The Rams considered taking quarterbacks Jared Goff and Carson Wentz before taking Goff. So interesting that those 2 quarterbacks there linked forever, Goff and Wentz. Clearly, Goff was the better fit for the Rams. The talent certainly was there. Goff is a player that has not reached the mountaintop like Matthew Stafford has with his organization. But let's not forget, he did put together some really, really explosive years when he was with the Rams. And he ended up making the Pro Bowl in his first season as a starter. In 2018, he started 16 games, and it was really a sign of what was to come for him. And 2017 as well. I mean, Pro Bowl. And you look at that first action that we saw in 2016. We had those 5 touchdowns in 7 games, and yes, there were the 7 interceptions, but he definitely flashed. But in 2017 at 23, he threw for their 3,804 yards, and you definitely got the sense that this guy fit with Sean McVay. And then in 2022 in Detroit, he did make a Pro Bowl again, so there was this big gap from 2018 to 2022. He's made 3 Pro Bowls with the Lions. So he's had more Pro Bowl seasons with the Lions than he has with the Rams. But in his Rams career, I mean, there definitely were those moments where you really felt like, hey, this is someone who could potentially lead this team to a Super Bowl. In 2018, 32 touchdowns and 12 interceptions. And it is the guy that got downvote MVP votes with the Lions. Now, I think looking back in retrospect, was that the right pick? I think you could say it was. I think you look at where the quarterback spot was, and he was kind of the perfect real training vehicle for Matthew Stafford. So when he realized that, hey, we need even better than Goff to get to where we want to go. And that's not a discredit on Sean McVay. It's just his offense, you needed someone like a Matthew Stafford to be able to execute in big situations. Because Jared Goff, we know that as good as he can be, there were those inherent flaws. You pressure him out the middle, he's not the same quarterback. Not a mobile quarterback, didn't have the biggest arm. But, I mean, I'll look back at the Goff era somewhat fondly. I mean, I look at the Super Bowl against the Patriots, and it definitely was a disappointment because, hey, you felt like if they just had a little more offense in that one, they could have won their first Super Bowl. But then do they win another one after that, right? Do they get back, right? I mean, I think that it's kind of one of those things where you almost use that as the evaluation tool, looking back a couple years after that, knowing that, hey, he wasn't the guy to get you where you needed to be. Number 9 on the list, moving on number 9, they've got welcome back, and that is when the Rams played their preseason opener against the Dallas Cowboys. It says, on an electric night, more than 89,000 filled the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum for the August 13, 2016 preseason opener between the Rams and the Dallas Cowboys. It was the first NFL game at the venue since 1994 and the first since 1979 the Rams played a home game within the city limits. The game was the debut of Goff, who played 2 series in the second quarter, was inexplicably ineffective and inactive for the season opener and did not play in the first 9 games. The game also served as a coming out party for a Cowboys rookie quarterback named Dak Prescott, who passed for 2 touchdowns and eventually displaced Tony Romo as the starter. So, yeah, I'll never forget that one. You had the Red Hot Chili Peppers playing. It was the Coliseum. Everything just felt amazing. Like, I'll be honest with you. Like, this January 12th, I went to get a Todd Gurley jersey that day. It was the gold one, the Navy one, and it was just such a sense of pride. No, hey, we've got an NFL team in Los Angeles, and I just could not get enough of it. I mean, I just love the fact that not only did we get a team, we got a team that has history here. It'd be one thing if the Rams got the Jaguars. And yes, would I have still jumped on? I would have, because you guys know I'm loyal to the soil, and I would have rocked with an LA team no matter what. But it was the fact that it was a historic franchise. And look, you cannot tell the story of the National Football League from its very beginnings to the middle to the end without long chapters on the Los Angeles and St. Louis Rams and Cleveland as well. So, I mean, the fact that you got a historic franchise, one that had a history here, and then that first game marking, hey, we're back at the Coliseum, we're not playing Orange County, it meant something. I mean, I just couldn't help but think, hey, I want to see the Rams gold and blue, right? I wanted to see those jerseys, and we would get some throwbacks of that, and we definitely had that era, which was great. Still think that should be the permanent uniform for the Rams, but that was fantastic. Then coming in at number 8, Wonderkind Sean McVay hired as head coach. On January 12, 2017, a month after they fired Coach Jeff Fisher, the Rams hired a 30-year-old with no head coaching experience. It turned out to be the most pivotal hire in franchise history. Sean McVay, now the winningest coach in Rams history, with a 92-57 record, has led the Rams to 2 Super Bowls and 1 title, and is pursuing another in the Rams' 7th playoff appearance in his 9 seasons. So, yeah, I mean, what more can you say about that day? I mean, that's one of the top 5 most important days in this franchise history. Getting a coach that is widely considered to be one of, if not the best coaches in the game, and it's more likely that he's considered the best coach in the game. And it's not just the Super Bowls, it's the fact that there's just no massive fall off. There's no down to the studs years of irrelevancy. McVay, barring injuries to his teams, he's going to make a run at the division. He's going to make a run at the playoffs, and there's a good chance he's going to win a playoff game. And I look at his career, and I think the one question I have for Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay and all these guys is, look, your legacy's essentially already intact, but it can be bigger. And how much do you want that? Because Sean McVay, he's on the Belichick path. He's on the Vince Lombardi path. He's on the John Madden path. I mean, wherever you want to say. I mean, Bill Parcells, he is on the path to, depending on how long he wants to coach, will join the all-time conversation. That's what's in play for Sean McVay. We're talking all-time great head coaches. Maybe not even just the NFL. I mean, this is a guy that, when it's all said and done, you could maybe, depending on how many Super Bowls he wins, if he wins 5 or 6 Super Bowls and coaches until he's in his 50s and 60s, I mean, he's in the Sabans and the Phil Jacksons, and hey, Dave Roberts is winning World Series, and Joe Torre and guys like that. Like, I mean, he really has the potential to be there. Like, the sky is the absolute limit for Sean McVay. And that's not hyperbole. That's not a biased take. That's just straight up fact. But those are the first 3 moments. We're going to continue this list on Monday. That's going to do it for this episode of Locked On Rams. My name is Doug McCain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMAC_LA. And until next time, whose house? It's Locked On Rams house.